So, sorry, in case you hear any noises, my wee French bulldog is sitting next to me, so he'll probably snuffle and snort as I talk. I was at a workshop today. Lovely workshop, really nice crowd, lovely group of parents who really got it, which is always really lovely. And as I always do, I mentioned the fact that my daughter, my youngest daughter, loves to remind me of all those parenting things that I've done wrong over the years before I knew this stuff. And I came home tonight, we're sitting having dinner, and she actually started to do it again at dinner. And up she came with the same story that she loves to tell. And I just thought, I've got to share it. It's just too good not to share it. The reflection on it, seeing it now, seeing it then, seeing how it still can trigger me a little, and then I have to remember and remind myself. So I thought I'm going to talk through what happened, how I see it now, and how it still affects me. So years ago, my daughter was going to high school. So she was changing to like second year from third year or something like that. And it was the day before high school. She had her doctor's appointment for something that she was, some minor ailment that she was going on and on and on about, which I was minimising because I was like, oh, for God's sake. And we got her to the appointment and she didn't want to go herself because she was still kind of in between adult and child, and she still wants me to take her to the doctors. And I moved heaven and earth to get everything organised so that I can take her. And I got up early to take her. Her face is like thunder. She's raging. She's furious at me. She's being rude to me. We drive to the doctors. I keep telling her to straighten her face. I keep telling her that, you know, that's not acceptable. All my old parenting, we get to the doctors. She goes into the doctors. She sees the doctor, gets done whatever needs done. We come out. Her face is still like thunder. She's looking at me. She's been really unkind to me, really short with me. I keep giving her into trouble. I keep warning her, and she just keeps doing it. And it gets to the point where she's so foul to me that I pull the car over and I throw her out of the car. She's probably about 13, 14, maybe 15. And I said, get out. She looks at me with shock. And I'm so angry. I'm furious by this point. This has been going on all morning. I got up out of my bed, given her my time to take her to the doctor, and she's treating me like crap. Over and over and over, no matter how many warnings and how much punishments and how much I go on her, she's still doing it. It's getting worse and it's getting worse. And I'm getting more stressed and more stressed, and I'm taking it as an attack. She's doing this to me on purpose. And I throw her out of the car and I drive away. Now, we're only a 10-15 minute walk from the house. It's literally up the street and round a corner and down to the bottom of the next street. But it's not a very nice walk, quite uphill. And so I drive home. Of course, by the time I drive home, I start to worry. What if something happens to her? And so then I spend the next 15 minutes on the phone to my husband, hysterical, telling him he has to phone her and make sure she's okay. Trying to follow her on my iPhone app to make sure she's not been murdered or attacked or abducted. And I think, well, what else can I do? What else can I do? So it ended up, I actually even went into her room and I didn't steal, I suppose to her it would be feeling stealing, I'm sure. I removed all of her makeup. Every bit of her makeup, I took it out of her room, I put it in a box and I took it off of her. I left her like 2 or 3 things minimum to teach her a lesson. And I made her, from when she finally came home in one piece, she was okay. And I was peeking out the window watching for her constantly, but when she started to arrive, I had to act all tough and strict like I didn't care. She came in and I probably lectured her and yelled at her and screamed at her. I told her she wasn't getting her makeup, I was taking it off her. And she would always have this very deadpan face. She would show no emotion. And that would make me more angry. And I said, and another thing, I am no longer getting up in the morning and taking you to school. You can get the bus. Now, we live quite far from where she went to school, probably about a good 25-minute drive. And we didn't live near a bus stop at the time. She had to go out and walk onto the main road to get a bus. So I looked up the times and I got her, and we had been at a time in her life where we were considering that she should start getting the bus. So it wasn't like, look at me trying to make excuses here. It wasn't like it was ridiculous that she got the bus. Some of her friends got the bus, you know, we hadn't done it yet. I thought, you're going to treat me badly. I am no longer getting out of my bed and helping you to get to school. So she had to get the bus. And off she went to school. On the bus, I was worried sick the whole time. She had to get the bus home. She got the bus home. And I was sitting at home, worried sick the whole time. When she came home, she had the biggest blister ever, because this was the very first day back at school. Brand new shoes, blister like this size. Top had come off it, it was raw. She had to walk all the way from the bus to the house. The bus was quite a bit of a walk from the house. Oh, did I feel guilty. Needless to say, the next day, she was getting a lift to school. Now, years later, she's brought this story up so many times, and years later, after I learned all this stuff, she keeps remembering the story, she keeps bringing the story up. There are so many things in that story that I know, I'm like, oh my God, I don't believe I did these things. She is absolutely right. But what she loved to remind me of tonight was that where I dropped her, where I just said to me, Mum, I can't believe when you stopped the car. I couldn't believe it when you stopped the car and you opened that door and you told me to get out. And she says, I hadn't done anything wrong now. I now know she hadn't done anything wrong. She was a stressed, overwhelmed child who was nervous about going back to school, was nervous about going to the GP on her own. She was stressed and she was, just a teenager, and she was overwhelmed and there was a lot of stress. She was going to a new teacher, she was going to all this new stuff. And I wasn't aware of that, and I was adding more stress and making more stress and making it all about me, when now I see that she was just a stressed, overwhelmed teenager in that time of life. And she'd been asking me for a while if she could go running round about where we lived, and it was a kind of windy country road, and I didn't want her doing it on her own, and I kept saying no. But that's exactly where I ended up dropping her off and leaving her. And she said, Mum, you wouldn't even let me go out there for a run, but there you were, throwing me out the car on my own. She's absolutely right. And she says, you made me get the bus. She loves to talk about the number of this bus. A specific bus went through really bad, difficult areas to get to her to school. And she says, did you ever get that bus, Mum? I'd never got that bus. You wouldn't have caught me on that bus. She said, Dad, did you ever get that bus? He never got that bus. But we let her go on her own at the age of 13. She says, Mum, there was people shooting up at the back of the bus. There was, I think she was over-dramatising it a bit, but she was, telling me all the bad things that were happening on this bus, all the dodgy areas they went through, and how dangerous it was that she was on this bus alone. She loves to remind me. She's still angry about it. I can see the way she's telling me about it. She's like, I can't believe you did that, Mum. I can't believe. And I say, no, I know. You're absolutely right. She's like, that blister that I had in my feet, and and I didn't go away for months and months. And she's absolutely right. And you took all my makeup. Mum, she's saying, you took my makeup the first day of high school, a teenage girl with all my insecurities, and you took away my makeup. She's absolutely right. If somebody took my makeup away, oh my goodness, I couldn't even leave the house. Wow, and she's so right. But that's not up for me to beat myself up over, because I didn't know. I thought that I was doing the right thing. That is what I came from. It's what I was being told to use. Peer, control the currency, then you control the child, which I now know is not true. I was adding more stress. And she likes to say, when she talks about it, how she did nothing wrong. Now, there's two sides to that, because my instinct is to jump in, still defending myself, because I still can get triggered into that. And I say, well, no, you were being a wee brat. You were being a wee horror. You were being really rude to me. You were being really horrible to me. But I have to bite my tongue, because she was stressed and she was scared and she was overwhelmed. And even now I can struggle to see that behaviour as that, because that's exactly what it is. And we joked about it afterwards. I said, did it work? Did you never talk to me like that? Did you never be rude? Were you never rude to me ever again? And she laughed, because she knows that's not the case. It certainly made no difference. She didn't learn anything from me doing all of those things to her. She only learned them when I started to see things differently. And I started to hold space. And I started to allow her to tell me how she feels. And we're still on that journey. We had good days and bad days, but generally we see big, huge changes. But wow, was she right? Cannot believe I did those things either. And I look back at it, but it's interesting to me how I can still defend myself in that sometimes. My husband started to get a wee bit like, well, you were being really difficult and you were cheeky and you shouldn't have done this and you shouldn't. I'm like, no, she's right. She's being really difficult and you were cheeky and you shouldn't have done this and you shouldn't. I'm like, no, she's right. She's absolutely right. She was stressed. She was scared. She was a teenager. her brain was offline, and I was coming in with stress and fear and making it worse and making it about me. It actually shows you how stressed I was and how overwhelmed I was, because I chucked her out of the car in an area where I wouldn't have even let her go for a run. How insane must I have been to have done that? And I got home and I was terrified for my child. That's how insane I had been in that minute. But I couldn't share, I couldn't go back and say, I'm really sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. Why did I not get back in that car? Why did I not drive back round to pick her up and apologise? Well, now, if I could do it again, that's exactly what I would do. I would hopefully not get to that point, but if I did, I would own it. I would own it and I would apologise. And we could repair, and then we could talk in the calm about how crazy it was, how we both were crazy with stress and how we'd both acted. And when I owned my mistake, that she would have been able to own her mistake and hopefully learn from that. Anyway, I thought there's no way I can type that. My dyslexic brain would not allow me to type that. That's far too much for my brain.